AWS Simple Storage Service, or S3. Hey everybody, Ben Finkel here, and in this nugget, we're going to take a look at Amazon's Simple Storage Service at a very high level, just an introductory overview of the service, what exactly it is, what features it offers that makes it so cool, such a neat cloud service, and we'll talk a little bit about the pricing model so that we can understand how expensive or how difficult it is to actually take advantage of and use Amazon Simple Storage Service. I think that storage in the cloud is a fairly obvious service or a fairly obvious use case for the cloud. You've probably used a cloud storage service yourself, whether it's OneDrive or Dropbox, Google Drive, or even Amazon Drive, Amazon Cloud Drive. And these services allow us as users to store data, upload files into the cloud so that we can access them from any of our devices, laptop, desktop, mobile phone, and from anywhere we happen to be with an internet connection. So whether that's at home or in the office or on the road, storage is available in the cloud everywhere we are. But Amazon S3 is the underlying technology. So while those products that I just described are all about the end user, those are the apps that the end user, you and I, are going to use for our own storage needs, Amazon's Simple Storage Service, S3, is the underlying technology. In fact, I just mentioned Amazon Cloud Drive. Yeah, that's right. Amazon Cloud Drive runs on S3. So accessing S3 is all about enabling us to back up our applications, our websites, or our mobile apps with unlimited cloud-based storage so that we can replace Amazon Drive with our own cool, neat, upgraded version of it, whatever that happens to look like. And there's a couple of really key features or key functions about S3 that make this work. First of all, it's online and HTTPS accessible. Every object or file inside of Amazon S3 is accessible via an HTTPS connection so that you can always get to your files anywhere from any device that has basic internet connectivity. You can see down here just a little example of a URL that might get you to a file, and if you have access to that file, you can actually punch that URL, whatever the URL is for your data, right into a web browser and download the file directly onto your machine. Amazon S3 is built for unstructured binary data, which is a simple way of saying it's built for files, large files, big chunks of files that you write infrequently but read frequently so that you can stream them down to user devices. So Amazon S3 is not a database. It has very, very little structure. It has no indexing. It has no search capabilities built in. It's about storing big data, big files that might be images, that might be videos, that might be sound, might even be HTML pages for your web application. Amazon S3 is also highly scalable, durable, and functionally limitless. So it's scalable in the sense that whatever amount of storage you need, you simply upload files into Amazon S3, and it will automatically scale out to ensure that it has enough space to store all those files. It's durable up to, I think, 11 nines of durability, which means you get 99.9999999% durability. So you don't ever have to worry about your files getting lost or misplaced once they've been uploaded to S3. And limitless, well, technically I'm sure that there is a limit, but in theory, the limit is far above anything that you or I are ever going to run into. Now, there are some account-based quotas in place that keep us from overutilizing the service because it is a shared multi-tenant application, but you can always reach out to Amazon and negotiate extended support contracts in order to get more space, increase your limits, and increase your quotas. Simple fact of the matter is the volume of storage that's available on Amazon S3 is beyond anything that most of us can build on our own. So just continuing to look at the features that S3 offers for us, like I mentioned, it's available via REST or via SOAP connections actually, and at something like this URL up here. Just so you understand, this URL is made up of a couple of different things. This first part here is going to be a bucket name that'll be unique to your account, and this part on the end here is known as the object key or the file name, and that's going to be unique for every object that you're referencing. Then in between the domain name s3.amazonaws.com, that's the domain URL that's going to be in every URL for every object inside of Amazon S3. You can upload an unlimited number of objects, and they can be all the way up to 5 terabytes in size. So however many files you want to upload, you can upload, and they can be huge. They can be 1 kilobyte, they can be 100 megabytes, they can be 1 gigabyte, they can even be 5 terabytes. So S3 is very flexible with regards to what particular data you're trying to store and what your data looks like. You can also secure data in Amazon S3 very, very easily. You can use your own client-side encryption, encrypt your data, and stream it up into Amazon S3 encrypted before it ever even gets there. Or if you'd like Amazon to encrypt it at rest, they have server-side encryption, AES 256, and that is easily enabled with a simple header inside of your REST call that will tell Amazon to encrypt that data. It will get encrypted on the fly before it's ever written out to Amazon S3 services, and you know that your data is encrypted and secured. And that's going to be good in the case of regulatory environments that you may be dealing with. So Amazon S3 is absolutely a secure place to store protected information or regulated information. You also get object level and bucket level access logs that you can use to audit access to your S3 data. S3 is also really easy to use. You can use any of the three connectivity options that we've talked about with AWS. That is the web browser, the command prompt, if you're a command prompt kind of person, or like we just spoke of a whole bunch, the RESTful or SOAP calls over HTTP. So with all that in mind, what are some of the actual practical S3 use cases? Well, you've probably thought about a few yourself, but I think some of the more obvious ones would be application data. You can store your application, maybe it's configuration data, maybe it's user files that they're uploading and storing in your application, right up inside of S3. Because it's all easily accessible over the web and tied back to your account, you've got easy access to that data whenever you need it inside of your application. Media is another really great option for storing in S3. I think this is one of the best things that you can use S3 for. Media files are often large. They're big, chunky data files that you need to stream down to your users. Perfect for S3. You store those media files up in S3, then your users can download and view those files. And this can be a case where you have large videos or images that users are uploading or sharing with each other. But also if you think about something like a website that has videos and lots of static media displayed on each page. Store your static media inside of S3, and that's going to make your website that much faster and that much cheaper to run. Another not so obvious use case is going to be storing AMIs inside of S3. So your Amazon AMIs, your custom images that you use for EC2 instances, get stored inside of S3. And one of the really great and neat features that you can do with S3 is you can actually store a website directly in S3. S3 can essentially be a front end for a website without you having to code up a web server at all. I just want to repeat that. I want to say that again. S3 becomes your web server. There's a whole set of documentation on it in the AWS documentation about how you can actually configure S3 to be a web server, deliver a web page right out of an S3 bucket. So really static, simple web pages are a perfect use case for that scenario. Now you may be thinking to yourself, okay, this is great, but I can't afford it. Well, actually you can. It's relatively inexpensive to use, and pricing for S3 is very flexible and very smart. First of all, you're only going to pay for what you use. And that makes sense, right? Because there's an unlimited amount of storage available. They can't charge you for all that storage, so you simply get charged for whatever you're using when you upload data to it. There is no minimum or startup cost. Zero minimum, zero startup cost. So your cost can be anywhere from 1 penny to $1,000 depending on how much you're using it. You don't pay at all for inbound traffic. You do pay for outbound traffic, so you will pay for people downloading data from Amazon S3, but uploading data into Amazon S3 is completely free. Your charges accrue hourly, like most services in AWS. You're going to pay hourly, so if you have a 1 gigabyte file that is up there for, say, 45 minutes, well, you're going to pay for a full hour of usage for that gigabyte. And you've got something called class-specific pricing. We'll talk about storage classes in a nugget on advanced S3 concepts, but you can see here you've got 3 different storage classes inside of Amazon S3 with 3 different prices, getting cheaper and cheaper as you go. So that concludes this nugget on AWS Simple Storage Service. Just to recap, Amazon S3 is an unstructured binary data store in the cloud that we can use to back up our applications, our web apps or our mobile applications or our desktop applications, for cloud-based storage that's available anywhere. That storage is available always over HTTP and HTTPS, so that any device with an internet connection can get access to the data that we've stored up in Amazon Simple Storage Service. The pricing is incredibly flexible. We pay only for what we use, with no startup costs and no inbound transfer costs, and pricing that is incredibly cheap and accrues hourly based on the storage class of the data that we're storing. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.